growing up playing baseball, basketball, my life really shifted when I was 13 and I started racing karts. Then, my life really became consumed with racing.
Oh, yeah. I know what's next.
I've done this 11 years now as far as racing IndyCar full time. So this is going to be my 12th attempt at trying to win the Indianapolis 500. It's absolutely a year where we've got to turn that around. We all know it and we all want it.
There he is, race car driver Joseph Newgarden, gearing up for the biggest prize in racing, the Indy 500. And George, all that is standing in his way is a crowded field. These guys are going to do anything to reach the winner's circle.
Crowded and talented. Before the race, though, comes The Journey. A new series premieres tomorrow night on the CW, following the drivers and teams headed for the greatest day in motorsports, if not sports overall. Joining us now is the pride of Nashville, Tennessee, Joseph Newgarden. Joseph, thanks for being with us this morning. You don't know, but we were just showing the clips of you working out. And I was thinking about when I was a kid, I was a big A.J. Foyt fan. I cannot picture A.J. Foyt pumping iron. You guys really do have to be conditioned athletes now, don't you?
It's a different world. The race cars, they broke a lot more often back then, too. So they didn't go as quick, and, they maybe weren't quite as physical. It was just a very different time. But nowadays, you can't leave any detail, on the floor. If you're missing any little bit, you're susceptible to getting beat. And so I love that this documentary series is going to show the inner workings of IndyCar. Obviously in the Indianapolis community, everybody knows how special the Indy 500 is. I grew up dreaming about winning this race just like many others. And I love that everyone's going to get, a real close interaction with the drivers and the team and crew members. There's so many people that are involved to make this thing go and to make it work on race day. And no one's really had a look like they're going to get with this series.
Wait to see this.
It's a very good series, too.
Yeah, and Joseph, I wonder, what is it like, though? I mean, because this is like turning the cameras around on you, your every move, perhaps part of your personal life, too. What has this been like so far?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's similar to our everyday programming. When we show up to the racetrack, as you guys know, the Indianapolis 500, it's filled with people, with camera crews. So, I think at track, it feels very similar. It's just adding another group of cameras. But it's really the away from the track that is, it's difficult to pull back the curtain and let people, really see what your life is like. And you got to thank my wife. She's the one that said, hey, we got to do this.
Hey, I want to ask you a question, and correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like all of you drivers are, we talked about conditioned athletes, lightning fast reflexes, fearless, but there is an element of dumb luck in racing at this level. Am I right about that?
There's definitely luck in timing. There's no doubt, and I that's what makes Indianapolis so difficult because, we run a 17 race schedule. It's a full championship, and, there's always timing to these races, but Indy it's one chance every year to get that day right. And if everything's not aligned perfectly and it doesn't work out, then you got to wait a whole year to come back to it. At least with the rest of the championship, you can move on, you can go to the next race and, try and get it right. And hopefully, the timing and the luck falls your way. It's not all timing and luck, but there is an element of that. And you'll definitely see parts of that in the documentary series. You'll see where, potentially one of these drivers and teams, they should have won the race and they were the best on the day, but it just didn't work out. And, sometimes when you watch the race live, you don't fully understand those situations. And I think this documentary series, it'll really put a light on, everything that goes into it, including that timing part.
I think what surprises me the most is seeing that video, Joseph, that you weren't seeing, but you working out. Do you find, too, that perhaps a lot of fans are surprised at just how much of the athletic performance is a part of what you guys have to do? Because it's not, necessarily that physical football or sport like football or baseball that you would typically see. What is that like? What do you hear from people?
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things. It's a misconception that can naturally happen with racing. When you watch racing on TV, I think most people, they feel like they could do that because they drive a road car every day. They drive a car to work, they drive a car to grab groceries, and it's understandable that they don't know what it's really like to drive an Indy car. And an Indy car could be, it could not be more different than what driving a road car every day to work is. It's not even closely related. They're very physical. You know, they make a ton of downforce, and with that, you pull a lot of G's on the corners. I mean, most tracks we're pulling up to 5 G's, which if you weigh 200 pounds and you're pulling 5 G's in the car, you essentially weigh 1,000 pounds in the car. That's how much force is being put on your body. There's no power steering, so you know the steering weight can be up to about 30 foot-pounds of torque. It's like going into the gym and trying to pick up a 30-pound plate and just turning that for an hour and a half plus of time. So yeah, physically, you have to be really prepared to meet the challenge. The more physically fit you are, the better opportunity you have to, you know, potentially have an edge on the competition. So, you know, there's little misconceptions like that I think people really, you know, they'll get an inside look that they've just never had before, and probably a newfound appreciation for the difficulty of the sport.
All the luck in the world. Thanks for joining us this morning on Lifestyle Live.
Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks so much, Joseph.